Hey everyone, welcome to the second episode of Meaningful People. On this week's episode, we have someone really special. But first, we just want to announce that Nachi and I are doing this intro and outro separately because we're practicing social distancing because of you've probably heard of coronavirus. But the actual episode we did many months before, and we're in the studio with our guest. And our guest is
Moishy Tanenbaum, and you probably are wondering who is Moishy Tanenbaum?
In the world is Moishy Tanenbaum? So Moishy Tanenbaum, you probably know already because you clicked on his name. It's Uncle Miltie, and we've all grown up with Uncle Miltie. You know,
we didn't actually grow up with Uncle Miltie, Yaakov. We grew up watching.
I personally grew up with Uncle Miltie. He actually adopted me, so I did grow up. With, yeah, it was great. It was a great experience. That's a joke. But we watch Uncle Miltie. We listen to his music, and he really was a machadach for so many of us. And he's never done an interview before in his life, which is really interesting.
So we sat down with him and we asked him some great questions, some questions that you guys probably are thinking like, how do you stay on as Uncle Moishe 24/7 for such a long time, for so many years, over 50 years?
And is Uncle Moishe, is it real? Is it Moishy Tanenbaum, Uncle Moishe, are two separate entities? And we really asked as many questions as we can. But enough about us. Enjoy the rest of the episode. Welcome to the Meaningful People podcast, the podcast where we talk to people who are
meaningful.
Yeah, that sounds good. Here we are with Uncle Moishe.
Hi, everybody. Hi.
How you doing?
Fine, Baruch Hashem. Fine, very well.
Our first question for you is, where are you from?
I'm from Toronto.
Oh,
Toronto, Canada.
Oh, wow. And you grew up in Toronto, or you were just born there?
I was born. I grew up in Toronto. Yeah, Toronto. I grew up in the East End of Toronto. Was not a Jewish area at all, but my parents had a neighborhood grocery store, and that's where I was born, in the big hospital, Mount Sinai Hospital in Toronto, and we lived in the East End of Toronto.
Yeah. Wow, and what was your childhood like? How would you describe it in East Toronto?
Well, it was a very nice family. I have a sister, and my parents were both hardworking people, and there was a lot of music in the home, and Jewish school, of course, I went to, and it was really nice. You know, Baruch Hashem. You know, certainly in that given situation, it was not a Jewish area at all, but going to school, we had buses and public transportation to get me to school every day. You know, on Sundays, my father would drive me to school, you know, because there was no busing on Sundays. And Baruch Hashem, it went by.
So at what point did Uncle Moishe come to be? I mean, did your
sister have a baby and then you became an uncle?
Yeah. Are you even actually an uncle, or is that
Yes, I am an uncle.
Okay.
I'm an uncle. Yes. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Yes. Well, it goes back a long, long time. We're talking about 1975. That's how far back we're going. I was always into music, playing guitar. I taught myself playing guitar. And I played at Malkas and Kumsitzes for various youth groups that I was in, with all my friends singing along Moishe Shabbos at the Pizza House over there in Toronto. And I'll take out my guitar and start singing. And on Moishe Shabbos, Malkas. So I was into music. I was in the school choir. I went to Eitz Chaim in Toronto. So I was involved with the choir there. And so music was part of my life. Singing was part of my life. And over there in Toronto was a organization called Lubavitch, which I volunteered with. And so I volunteered with them Sundays, putting on tefillin on various people. We used to go to the B'nai B'rith house on Sundays. We had a booth there and put on tefillin with the boys there. And I was known by a different name at that time. I do have another name. My name is Milton.
Oh, no way.
I would never have guessed that. Milton.
The mem stands for Milton, I guess.
Exactly.
No. And in 1975, the Lubavitcher Rebbe came out with a Fabrengen, and he spoke about the idea of using our Jewish names. So the Chabad Shliach over there, Rabbi Laufer, Yehoshua Laufer, sat me down and says, Milt, Baruch Hashem, you're popular with the boys there, helping out, volunteering, but perhaps you should start using your Jewish name. Moishy. That's my Jewish name, Moishy. So I started calling myself Moishy. But where does the uncle come in?
Yeah.
That we're going earlier.
Earlier?
That we're going earlier.
Take us there.
Oh, my God.
We're going earlier to 1967.
1967. That's a year.
What year were you born, Nachi, just for context?
68, actually. I missed it by a year.
I think Nachi's born in the late 90s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Welcome.
He's getting bar mitzvah next month.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yes.
So 1967.
Seven, yes. Wow. My Rebbe, Rabbi Klukowski, Oliver Shalom, nicknamed me Uncle Miltie. Now, Uncle Miltie was a very well-known comedian in the late 50s. His last name was Burl, Milton Burl. Uncle Miltie was his nickname. So from then on, I was nicknamed Uncle Miltie.
How old are you when this happened?
I'd say maybe 11.
Wow.
Oh.
That's so cool. Like,
Yeah, you were uncle before you were an uncle.
Yes.
you weren't really an uncle yet.
No.
Okay.
But I was the funny guy in the class. Always the funny guy.
That's such like foresight, no? By this Rabbi Laufer.
A lot of pressure on your sister also to make that come true. Wow.
And Uncle Miltie, that name stuck with me wherever I would go. And even when I go back to Toronto with my wife, and she hears somebody calling me, "Hey, Uncle Miltie's here." They know right away it's from my youth long ago. Old friends of mine.
Wow, that's so cool.
So I was known as Uncle Miltie. Coming back to 1975, Rabbi Laufer, the shliach there, mentioned, "Hey, Moishe, got to use your Jewish name." Rabbi Shua said, "We use our Jewish names. Be proud of that." Therefore, Uncle Moishe became.
Are you Lubavitch?
No.
But you had a connection to the...
Volunteered, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Certainly the outlook of reaching out to children.
Have you ever met the Rebbe?
I've met him not personally, though. No. No.
Queens.
But the idea of reaching out to children, being proud of our Yiddishkeit, whatever level we might be.
Yeah.
And to welcome the children into the knowledge of Judaism.
So would you say that's something you were passionate about from a young age or a younger age?
Yeah, it's always been my passion to reach out to children. At that time, it was older. It was teenagers at that time. It was teenagers.
Right.
Meeting children, well, that's a different story.
What is that story?
I was waiting for you to ask.
Yeah. I thought Nachi was, so I just...
Stay tuned for a commercial. Well, now let's go back again. 1968, 69. My Rebbe's wife was a preschool teacher in the same school. And I was playing guitar, taught myself guitar, as I mentioned before. And the classic songs, Hashem is Here, Torah Tzivo, those were classic songs.
I'm going to sound like
I
literally thought you made those songs up.
No.
Did you not write Hashem is Here?
No.
I think people our ages think that.
Who wrote that?
Hashem is Here was made by a
Avram Avinu.
Rabbi.
No, I'm kidding.
Rabbi Yossi Goldstein.
Oh, wow.
Who is known as Uncle Yossi.
Oh.
Okay.
And
Wait, I'm thinking of Country Yossi, I think.
No.
Yeah.
There's an Uncle Yossi.
That's right. He
There's
had
a lot of uncles there.
many albums of stories and songs.
Oh.
And unfortunately, he passed away a while ago already. But this was one of his songs. Hashem is here. Hashem is there. Hashem.
I mean, for everyone listening right now, I'm curious how many people think that you wrote that. I would imagine most, yeah?
Yeah, that makes
Most
sense.
under the age of, I don't know.
So, okay, so you have you those famous songs, I guess, at the time. You
Yes.
just start singing them.
So my Rebbe's wife, who, as I said, was a preschool teacher, asked me, "Moish, come play for our children. It's lunchtime. Come, bring your guitar. Let's play a song or two for the children." I said, no way. I can't do it in front of the children. I can't do it. Moish, come try. Take a song. Hashem is Here. It's a simple song. We all know it. Come and sing a song. And I did. And the children loved it. They sang along. And we were pointing our hands, our fingers, where's Hashem? And that really started me off playing in front of children, or the possibility of that. So it's true, I was dealing a lot with the teenagers, being the B'nai Brit House and other places, the Sukkmobile that Chabad had in Toronto, volunteering for that, you know. But then eventually it evolved into performing for children.
Wow, that's
And at what moment? Okay, so you started singing for children. So at what moment did you, I guess, feel? Was there a certain concert or a certain moment in time that you're like, I am Uncle Moishe?
Or was there a person that came over to you and said, "You are Uncle Moishe now, and you should do this"?
Like, when was it like official, or felt official, I should say?
Well, again, 1975 was when I first called Uncle Moishe.
Yeah.
1979 was the first album. In those days, it was records. Now I think it's called vinyl. It was the first album. Was 1979. So perhaps on the recordings, that might have been the first official at that time. You know, and as far as recording goes. But I've been known Uncle Moishe since 1975.
Wow. So, since 1975 till now, does it just increase more and more? Because I can imagine 1975, you go outside of your house to go to shul, and okay, not so many people recognize you, but in 2020, it sounds like we're in the future.
Right.
You go outside, you're even without the mem hat, I'm sure that you get stopped all the time.
Well, it's true. I'm being recognized. That's true. Yeah, wherever I go. Certainly in my community, my neighborhood, you know, I'm seen every day. So it's not so.
Where do you live?
I live in Brooklyn.
What's your exact address? No, I'm kidding. So you live in Brooklyn. Okay, there's a lot of people there. A little easier to blend in, but also at the same time.
613 Mitzvah Boulevard.
Borough Park, Williamsburg. Yeah, around there.
In Brooklyn.
He lives in Brooklyn.
Yeah,
You'll find him after. So you live in Brooklyn. Okay, cool. And was there? This is a real question. I mean, your Uncle Moishe. Was there ever a chance to change your name to? From I understand, you have children, right?
Yes.
So to maybe be Tati Moishe, or are you a Zaidi?
I am a Zaidi.
Would you turn into Zaidi Moishe? Was that ever a thought, or like, nah, I'm Uncle Moishe for the long run?
No, I'm Uncle Moishe.
But it's so funny because you were Uncle Moishe since you were 11, and it's way before any of this happened. You're Uncle Milton, then you're Uncle Moishe. That's like,
listen. Sometimes I do get a phone call from a high school girl saying that, you know, Uncle Moishe, I'm doing a report from my school, and I'd like to interview you if I may. And one of the questions they always ask is, how did you get this job? Mm-hmm. And I tell the girls on the phone, it's not a job. It's who I am. I am Uncle Moishe.
Wow.
It's not a job. I didn't answer an ad in a newspaper wanted.
So would you say that you love it?
Sure. It's not a matter of loving. It's part of me. That's the thing.
It is you.
See, it is. That's the thing. It is me. It's not a character on a silver screen, you know, like a Havdil Mickey Mouse, a character. But it is a person.
You know,
and one cannot really last this long performing in front of children around the world as an actor. And I do have several stories, you know, to even confirm that. Certainly one story, I was leaving a dry cleaner store, and I was not dressed as Uncle Moishe, just with a hat and jacket, you know, regular. And as I left, I said thank you to the man. And I walked out in my slacks, and a lady comes rushing up, Uncle Moishe, just a moment. And I turned, yes. You know, I was watching you, how you behaved with that person behind a desk, and your manners, and I could see now that you are Uncle Moishe.
Wow.
But that's me. That's how I am.
You know, it's probably a big question that people think about, you know, in society at large. You look at, you know, mascots at, you know, games, or Barney, and you know, every now and then there's like, when Barney gets off his mask, he's this and this guy, you know. So it's probably very refreshing for people to actually hear that Uncle Moishe, you are Uncle Moishe, this is who you are. It's not an act. It's not fake. It's real. This is a part of you.
It's so funny you mention it because I'm seeing some interesting similarities between, I'm sure you've heard of him, Mr. Rogers.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people also after his show or just during, they all thought like, okay, this guy, he's an act. It's not like, come on, like who is he really? And anyone who interviewed him found out like, no, this is his person. This is him. It's not like a character. There's a similar vibe going on over here, I think.
Well, certainly these people, again, cannot last this long in the public eye being just an actor, especially in front of children, because they could see right through you.
Right.
They could see you, and they're watching you. So it does come with a responsibility.
That's a tremendous responsibility.
Yeah.
Kids don't have filters. They just, they call out what they see. And, like you said, how many years have you been doing this?
Since, 75? 1975?
Wow.
An example. As you know, the streets in Borough Park, they're pretty narrow.
Mm-hmm.
And the lights and
Borough Park.
one visits.
I knew we would get it.
One visits Borough Park. The streets are very narrow, and the lights all over. Every block is a light, red, green, and people tend to just keep on walking. And the light turned red, and I was just about to step off the curb. I heard behind me, "Oh, look, Yinga, look, there's Uncle Moishe here." And I heard that from my ear. So I gingerly stepped back on the curb, and the children lined up all around me with the mother, with the carriage. And I waited for the light. I pointed at children. I pointed the lights to the children. See, it's a red light, looking. And then it turns green. And we looked at both directions, and we all walked together across the street.
Wow.
But the point is that I heard behind me, "Oh, there's Uncle Miltie." So it's also a reminder, not only of responsibility, but a reminder that people are watching me, or perhaps all of us, how we behave in the street, how we talk to our friends. Even bystanders are watching us. The way we walk in the street. Do we look like a Jew? I remember once in Toronto, walking home very late, Friday night, very late, and a car drives by, and in those days they would shout out various names to a Jewish person. Just a shout out, "Hey, you!" You could fill in the blanks and drive off.
Hela Giyad! Probably not Hela Giyad.
And I stopped. And I thought to myself, wow, look at this. Here's a non-Jew recognizing that I'm a Jew, that I look like a Jew. Wow, that's fantastic. Instead of taking an other approach with how dare he, but I use the approach of saying, wow, it's unbelievable. Here's a non-Jew recognizing that I am a Jew. That's fantastic. That's great. Wow.
It's a very deep point you make, about how all of us have that certain reminder where we hear behind you, you're like, imagine you heard someone talking about you, that's Yaakov Linger, and we all, should have that inside our head. But looking at you and hearing this, my question that is just really, how do you not get burnt out? Or do you get burnt out, for so many years? And like you said, it's part of you. So it's not an act, it's part of you, but it's still a lot. It must be exhausting. Having to always be on,
Well, that's the thing. It's not being on. It's me.
But I think what Nachi means is like the fact that obviously one should always be kind as you sing in your songs, and it's a mitzvah. But the point of like, even sometimes like, you're a little tired and you're not doing anything bad, but like you're just not in the mood to like smile at someone and go out of your comfort zone, I should say. And like, you're just not, you just want to go daven ma'ariv now. You're not interested. Like what like do you do inside that pushes you to say like, okay, I gotta be the best me. Like, is there, is there a dialogue inside?
There's not a dialogue. No, I'm aware that people are watching, and certainly davening is davening. And if somebody wants to come up to me davening, and I go, shh, davening, type of thing.
Right, right.
You know, and certainly if people approach me, of course I welcome them in. You know, that's not necessarily that I get into very long conversations with people. You know, it's not really necessary. You know, but certainly to say hi to someone, hi, how are you, type of thing. You know, Baruch Hashem. You know, see you later, bye bye, type of thing.
It's amazing, you know, because that's who he is.
Right.
That's who you are. So there's no on-off switch. It's just being yourself.
So I have a question about, okay, so you're Uncle Moishe, aunt to Uncle Moishe, aunt, whatever your wife's name is. How does she take everything? And is it hard for her that you're Uncle Moishe? Like she's married to Uncle Moishe? What's that like?
Well, that you might have to ask her.
I know, but she's not here.
Come on in.
But certainly when one marries a person, you're marrying the package. And admittedly, I'm sure it's been a strain for her. It's tough because not only are they watching me, but they're looking at her too. You know,
Right.
who's Uncle Moishe's wife?
Yeah.
Wow, look at, you know, type of thing. You know,
Right,
and it continues on to my children.
right. For sure.
You know,
That must have been hard for them, like their father growing up with.
It must have been like because for all intents and purposes, you are a celebrity in the Jewish world. Like if we ever had one, you are in this. You know, like you're probably played in every Jewish home. So, what was like for them? Do you know how it was like for them?
well, it was difficult. I'm certainly not only as a father who's a celebrity, but perhaps any parent who's well known. Perhaps a parent, a father who's a Rebbe in a school, or a principal in a school, and you're the
point.
son of that principal. Yikes! Wow, your father's a principal. I'm staying away from you.
I'm not sure what's worse now.
Right.
Well, at least you won't get them in trouble and like put them in detention, you know?
Well, no, but you know, anyone who's
Right.
a father who's
In the light.
in the light, you know, certainly
Pressure.
it is pressure, and it's a strain, no doubt about it. You know, and Baruch Hashem, as they got older, they became to appreciate it more and more. So true, when they were younger in school, yeah, it was. It wasn't an easy ride, but once they're getting older and older, and now my two boys, which I have, are both married. Now they're starting to realize, wow, Uncle Moishe, wow, Dad,
Yeah.
this is big stuff. You know, wow, I'm proud. It's my
Wow.
father.
That's really
Does
cool.
does your aunt uncle do they watch Uncle Moishe and like as like do they watch Uncle Moishe as just entertainment instead of that's Zadie?
No.
They watch Zadie.
They
They don't
don't watch Uncle Moishe. No, to them, I'm a Zadie.
Really? Okay.
I'm
That's
Zadie.
like a chinuch decision.
It's a chinuch decision made by my son, who
Yeah.
has 4 children, Kanai Nahara, and they're still young. They're under 7 years old, and no, they know Zadie is Uncle Moishe. They do see posters, and
Right.
when they go to the doctor's office, they see Zadie on the video, and he's funny. See, Zadie's funny. Zadie's funny. Look, Zadie's funny.
and you
Look
take
at
the
that.
Zadie vitamin now. You know?
Right.
It's like Steve Jobs. They said Steve Jobs never gave his kid iPhones or Apple products. You know.
The CEO of Apple.
Yeah, the
Right.
CEO of Apple. He didn't. I guess he don't.
Mish.
Yeah. So that's very interesting.
Yeah, but that was his decision as far as chinuch is concerned. And I'm a Zadie. I'm a Zadie to them. You know? And true, I'm Uncle Moishe, yes. And they do know about that, but it's not something that we talk about. You know, what we talk about is
Right.
Zadie.
Yeah.
Zadie-
Outside is probably the thing like you probably like your family's constantly talking about Uncle Moishe business. Like what's Uncle Moishe doing? But it's life it's just regular life.
That's it. It's
Yeah.
that's the home life. That's my home life.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a Zadie. I'm a real person, and to them, I'm a Zadie. And you know, Zadie, sing me a song. Zadie made us laugh.
Did you ever imagine that Uncle Moishe world would turn into what it is today?
No, not at all.
Ever?
Not at all. We made as I mentioned, the first album in 1979, and many of those songs were well-known songs already. And somehow, Baruch Hashem, it literally just took off.
Wow.
It just took off, and it's really, I give a tremendous hakaras hatov to the parents for trusting me, because I'm in their homes.
Yeah.
And they're letting their children listening to these songs and the chinuch value of those songs for me to come into their homes. It's a tremendous hakaras hatov I give to them to trust me that it's true, it's emes, and they're allowing me into their homes.
Wow.
Do you see like a difference from, let's say, the 90s, early 2000s to now in terms of, the world has changed so much? I'm sure, at some point people started running over to you and grabbing you and putting a phone in your face like for a selfie. And there was a point where you probably were like, whoa, what is this, right? Do you see that from your perspective as Uncle Moishe? Do you see a difference? Do you see a significant change in how you do what you do with the kids that are sitting there growing up in the world that we're growing up in now? Or is it just from the 90s and the 80s, it's the same bit?
Children are the same. The mitzvahs are the same. Perhaps the way we show the children a mitzvah, how do we introduce it, has changed. And I'm talking now specifically about concerts. How now the look of the concert has changed, at least for me. That now the children are perhaps a bit more educated, and they've seen concerts, they've seen shows, especially children that are not orthodox or observant. They've gone to concerts, they've seen shows, and it's almost like sort of like an obligation that I have to perhaps give them a more of a showy
Quality
type of look.
Yeah.
The mitzvahs are the same, but it's a matter of the presentation of it.
And you alluded to the fact of some are coming from non-frum backgrounds,
right?
Non-frum, so
because they're more perhaps they've seen the outside world more.
Right. Would you say that's like a big chunk of your clientele? You do a lot of those type of shows. You brought into communities that are maybe not so frum, and introduce them to Yiddishkeit in a way.
Yes, all my songs has something for the children to do. So it's not necessary that they have to know the song per se. But it could be the idea of jumping up and down, spinning around, clapping our hands, or taking a broom and sweeping the floor for cleanup, the cleanup song. Mm-hmm. They don't necessarily have to know the songs versus just following along with the instructions, having fun. We might have a choo-choo train, a mitzvah train going around the room, or hitting balloons, sharing with our friends. It's a lot of it's action, things for the children to do. On the side note, of course, they might be yelling, Shabbos! Shabbos! To sing along with me, or point their fingers, where's Hashem? So true, we're having fun pointing up, up, down, down, but they're actually pointing to where Hashem is. Up, up, down, down. And this is something they can actually take home. And do the song with their parents, because their parents have grown up with me.
It just blows my mind that the fact that I could be wrong. Just in the history of the world, for mechanechim, you might be the biggest mechanech in the world that ever existed.
Has anyone ever told you that before?
Yes. Just think about it. Technology wasn't around then, and like, what does that feel like? I would feel amazing. It's obviously a big responsibility, but like, so many children are pointing Hashem is there, and their image of who Hashem is and what mitzvahs are started with you. I'm a little like fanboying a little.
No, but we're just breaking down what we're hearing, and that's just the facts. Like that's what.
It's better that I don't dwell on it.
Right, that makes sense.
And people have asked me, Moishe, how do you deal with this? How do you handle this? And this is an example I give them. There's a hurricane, a storm. In the eye of the hurricane, it's very quiet. It's very serene. Yet all around the eye of the storm, chairs are flying, cows are going across the room. It's atomo, it's wild out there. But in the center, it's very quiet. And that's how I might picture myself, that I am who I am, doing what I do, but yet all around me, there's all this tumult and so much adus and
Tremendous amount of
things,
self-discipline.
but that's all around me. But yet where I am, it's pretty serene.
This is a question we like to ask all our guests, and I usually ask it towards the end. I know we're in the middle, but do you have a favorite mitzvah? This is something that I want to ask you. There's not, no? You don't
No
have
favorite
one.
mitzvah?
No. How could we say that?
That's
Every
an answer.
mitzvah-
That's an answer.
How could we?
No, but one that you
every
particularly-
every mitzvah is special.
Right.
Every mitzvah is special. I don't have a particular one special mitzvah.
How about a favorite yontif?
No.
No.
Every yontif is so special. Boys and girls.
Okay. You for sure have a favorite day of the week, though, right?
Of course, we
Okay.
all have a favorite day of the week.
what is that?
And what is that, boys and girls? It's
Not Tuesday.
Shabbos.
Right, Shabbos. There you go, not Tuesday.
Shabbos.
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 Sorry, yeah,
You said
Shabbos.
Tuesday?
I said it's not Tuesday.
You said Tuesday.
It's not Tuesday. Yeah, no, I love Shabbos. I love Shabbos. And as I get older, I learn to
Appreciate it more.
more and more.
Especially when you start, when you're in the working world, just to be able to disconnect and just have that quiet. There's nothing like that. As I got older, I definitely, for sure.
Yeah.
But I find it crazy. I had nephews from a very young age. So let's say I don't know, by the time I was 13, I already have nephews who were 2 years old. And I remember from the youngest age, I remember them, they were watching Uncle Miltie. Just to see that, and their kids are going to watch Uncle Miltie. And it's just timeless. It's timeless. It's so crazy. There's not many things in the world, in our circles, with the way things are so disposable and things happen so fast that are timeless. And you find a way to stay humble. We're challenging that really, really hard right now. Aren't we?
It's interesting that I'm seeing several generations, and not only children want to have pictures with me, their parents want to have pictures with me. However, questions do rise. As we know, when a person takes a picture nowadays, in a moment, the whole world sees that picture.
Mm-hmm.
It's no more kept alone in a shoebox, but
Right.
right away they send it on Instagrams or whatever you
Right.
have on a cell phone. It's sent to friends. And some parents want to take pictures with me. However, their mode of dress might not be so
Right.
modest.
Mm.
So what do I do?
These are like, PR decisions. And
What do you do? I don't know. That's a good. How does Uncle Moishe handle
I think
that?
he's thinking about it right now.
I have a Rav who
course.
I
Yeah.
ask these questions. And it's a very interesting answer he gave me, and it's one that I apply, is that I don't take a picture with only one parent. I would take a picture with children. So therefore, I'm not singled out with that one
Right.
parent who might not be modestly dressed or appropriate for the time. Yet I'm with the children.
Mm.
So there I am. I'm with children.
Wow.
Because, certainly in this day and age, certainly a celebrity, one in the forefront,
Yeah,
we do have to watch out and be careful.
of course.
So I don't even know the amount of shows that you've performed by. Was there ever a moment or a time or specific show that sticks out in your mind from all those times?
Throughout the years, Baruch Hashem, I've been around the world, seen thousands of children. However, the one performance that really stands out for me is when I visit a child in a hospital. That one child in a hospital. That to me it's the most special thing. And I've been around the world, concerts, thousands of children, outdoors, indoors, where have you. But coming into a hospital and seeing a child and having the child perhaps smile, or better yet, perhaps join along with me, to to me, that is so, so special. And regardless of how the hospital might look, and there's some beautiful hospitals out there, gorgeous, beautiful, nicely presented. There's a beautiful children's hospital. Yet, it's still a hospital. And you're in the child's room. And after a performance, I always give a child something, a picture or a coloring book, whatever. We say our goodbyes. And I walk out into the sunshine. Wow, that's heavy. For me, those moments are the most special moments.
I was in Camp Simcha. I was a counselor there, and there's been every type of performer have been there, but there's no one more excited that kids got than when you came. It's just very fascinating to see that someone who's taking mitzvahs and avodas Hashem and making that fun and actually interactive and cool and playful. I imagine that's the goal of everything that you're doing.
Well, certainly to present mitzvahs to children in a fun way and with song, because one of the methods of learning is through melodies. Even when a boy gets older, he starts learning the Gemara, the Talmud. There's a melody to that.
Yeah.
The Mishnah, the Chumash. You could hear the Rebbe's teaching the children with a melody.
Mm.
It's a very powerful means to learn. And it stays with a person, these melodies.
Wow.
So certainly when I present a mitzvah through a song, through an action, and hopefully some of that will stay with the child. And they even bring it home. I've gotten many letters from parents who they've learned about the mitzvahs and have come closer to Yiddishkeit through these mitzvahs, all through a song.
What's something about Uncle Moishe that most people don't know?
He has an M on his hat.
No, there's got to be something that about you that it could be, as small as your PIN code to your bank account, or it could be
Social,
Where are we going to go with this?
I don't know. It's up to you. What would you like to share? What's something that most people don't know about you?
I'm on a diet. Trying to lose weight.
Wait, Walters Atkins,
taking care of our health is a very big mitzvah.
Yeah,
that's right. And we have to do that. Sure, taking care of our health. It's very important. Sure.
Wow.
Is there a specific person you have in mind? Well, yeah. Is there a specific person you have in mind that has had a tremendous impact on your life? That I guess motivates you to do what you do. You mentioned you obviously have a Rav, but is there somebody that you will always turn to if, let's say, or have turned to if, let's say, you needed chizuk or you needed a boost? Well,
certainly in my school years, Rabbi Glukowski, my first Rebbe, who really took me into his home. And he really opened his door to me. And along with his family, was a very big influence for me. The way he not only his smile and his song, but the way he welcomed everyone, whoever he met on the street. It's something that I've grabbed onto. Later on, as I grew older, there was another very special person, a Rebbe of mine, Rabbi Weiss, Reb David Weiss, the Kamenka Rebbe, Zecher Tzadik Levracha, passed away recently. He was a very big influence with me. And there's one thing that I mentioned to people, that it's very important to find a Rav who's for you. Meaning that we all have questions. What should we do? What's the halacha? So we know with the halacha, yes, it's kosher. Yes, Moishe, it's kosher. Yes, it's kosher. No, that's not kosher. No, this is kosher. That's black and white. But the next step after that is to ask your Rav, well, what should I do? What's appropriate for me to do? Yes, I know it's kosher, but should I eat that? Is that for me? That's the next level. And that's a much harder question to answer. Mm-hmm. And that's where personal Rav comes into our lives and directs us and perhaps takes us to levels that we might not be comfortable, yet through his guidance, we could reach those steps going higher and higher.
Yeah, it's been like a common theme for most everyone we've had on this podcast so far. Is people mention the importance of having a Rav, having someone who they can turn to. Seems like it's pretty important.
May I give an example?
Please do.
I was in Vienna, I believe, staying there for Shabbos, and there was a hotel that many Jewish people go to. And going to my room, I noticed that the hall lights would go on and off. When you stepped into the hallway, the lights would turn on. It was triggered by your emotion.
Oh, man.
So I went to the front desk and said, I'm having a problem with the hall lights. I can't leave my room for the Sabbath because the hall light will... He said, no problem. Just call me on the phone and we'll get you from the... I can't do that. I can't call you on the phone. It's the Sabbath. That's no problem. No, we'll get somebody to come, but I got a problem. But I think we know what the halacha is. That you don't mean to do it. You don't have to confirm it. You don't have the intention to do it. You're just going right by.
If you're in Vienna, I mean...
I called my Rabbi Weiss, Zecher Tzaddik Livracha. He was in Eretz Yisrael at the time. And I told him the situation. And so I said to Rabbi, but what should I do? We know what the halach is, Rabbi, but what should I do? Moishe, stay in your room for just a moment. I'll call you right back. This was Friday, Erev Shabbos. I think we were in the same time zone. But regardless, it was right before Shabbos. So I waited a few moments. He calls me back. Moishy, I got you a different hotel room.
Wow.
It's a different hotel. It's across the street, run by Orthodox owners, and they're Shomer Shabbos, and you'll have no problem. And he got me a room there. And that's where I went for Shabbos. Just an illustration of a Rav, your personal Rav, who perhaps for me, it wouldn't be better to go across the street and go to that hotel than to have this perhaps gray area in my life.
Wow. Yeah, I hear that. So you sing a lot of songs. Obviously, some songs that
good observation.
Were so I think I'm not sure. So research shows correct. So obviously, some songs you made up, some songs that have been around. Is there one particular song that relates more to you?
Wow, that's a very difficult question to ask.
Yeah, we like to ask difficult.
There's
questions.
hundreds and hundreds of songs.
But is there one that the beat comes on and you're like, I don't know. I'm not sure what it is.
Certainly, on the top of my head, there is a song that again was made many, many years ago called Don't Walk in Front of Me. Don't walk behind me. Just walk beside me.
Who wrote that?
We might say it's traditional.
So who writes that? Who writes the traditional songs? God?
We're going back.
Here's the Luchos and here's Don't Walk Beside Me.
That song was well known in the 60s.
Wow.
That song.
Someone must have wrote it.
So that sticks out. Any other songs that...
It does stick up. It does.
How come? How come that one?
Because it rings true for me, singing to children all around the world, is that we do need each other. It's not you doing your thing, I'm doing my thing, you're okay, I'm okay, don't bother me, I don't bother you, you don't bother me. We're together in this. We're holding hands. And it reminds me of Kabbalah's HaTorah, when we received the Torah, that we stood at Har Sinai as one, together. And each one of us do play a part. Me, singing songs, traveling the world. Another person could be working at a 9-to-5 job, but still doing the mitzvahs that he can in that situation. Another person might be doing something else, an artist. Whatever they're doing, we're all doing our part. And we're all needed together.
Wow. You're quoted for saying pizza is delicious. It's your favorite food around.
Well, don't forget, I'm on a diet right now.
Oh, right.
Let's
Low carb pizza.
But is that really true? Are you a big? I mean, pizza. The pizza song for me particularly
Sticks out to you.
is
Yaakov.
my favorite. I want to like try helping you show you like how to hold a pizza box just to make sure. We'll make sure there's no brooms around.
Well, we do have the carbs and we have the protein is there as well.
Right, and this goes back to the healthy song.
Right, cut down the salt there, cut that down. You know.
Wow. I guess before we finish off, is there any story or any moment that you'd like to share with everyone? I know I meant that's also a loaded question, but
Yeah. You've been doing this a very long time. You know, a lot of shows, a lot of interactions. Maybe there's one that you could share that could help people.
Well, certainly, as I mentioned before, seeing a child in a hospital. But when that child comes to see me at one of my concerts, wow, you came to see me. Now you're seeing me. It might sound insignificant, not such a great epic story, a saga, but it's these small incidences that really strikes me and really tugs at my heart. When that child is out of the hospital and he comes to see me at my show. Wow.
Do you have a good memory? Like, you remember the faces? Imagine you probably have seen hundreds of thousands of kids throughout the years, maybe.
Yeah, that's
You know.
true. No.
wow. Is there anything in the next year or coming up particularly that you'd want to plug or talk about or mention?
Well, certainly Pesach is coming up, Purim and Pesach. We'll be doing concerts around the area.
Assuming that we're not sure when we're posting this, but
Yeah.
but okay, Purim Pesach. But every year you do Purim Pesach.
Sure,
so-
around the Yom Tovim.
There's always
sure.
going to be Purim Pesach.
Yeah,
Sure,
that's true.
around the Yom Tovim.
That's consistent.
But I'm, Baruch Hashem, doing concerts throughout the whole year, not necessarily relying on a special event, a special holiday. It's all year round. And there are ways to reach me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like,
Go
if
for
I
it.
may, sure.
Please.
There's a phone number one could reach Uncle Moishe. It's at 844-4-UNCLE-M.
And when you say reach you, what does that mean? Like, they could...
If they want to book a concert or an appearance of me
I thought they
coming
get to,
in.
like, talk to Uncle Moishe. Like, hey, kids, call Uncle Moishe.
They could. They
He's
call the
Klal
number
Yisrael's
and
uncle.
they hire Uncle Miltie to come, and then they
Oh,
talk to
I
him.
just thought it was Uncle Moishe hotline, where it's just like, speak to Uncle Moishe.
Oh, like that.
Like, you can't do your math homework, call Uncle Moishe.
Oh, that could be
Now
fun.
that's an idea.
And now, is there something else on there?
Oh, yes. Or you could email my office. It's called info@unclemoisheworld.com.
And Moishe is spelled M-O-I-S-H-Y.
M-O-I-S-H-Y.
Okay.
Right.
This has been an amazing almost hour. We've really, I think, got to know you better. And to me, something that stands out, if I may say,
Yeah.
is that you didn't become Uncle Moishe. Uncle Moishe became you.
I like that. That sounds nice. That sounds cool.
Wow.
That's just the way it is. Like, I don't know how many people could say that about, in a profession, but I kept thinking coming into this sit down, this talk, that like, how do you not get burnt out? How do you stay motivated? And you're looking at me just like, it's me. And this is who I am. And that's really amazing. That's really, really amazing. I think people can learn a lot from that.
It'd be funny if like we shut off all the mics and like turn off. You guys you guys stink. You're the worst. We're like, what? Uncle Moishe. But before we started the recording, I mean, you were you, and I'm sure after that will be the case as well. And thanks for coming on. And we hope to have you back someday.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
It's been
Thank
a
you for
pleasure.
having me. It's been an honor being here and to speaking to all the boys and girls and to their parents and grandparents. And the message, of course, is they were all one. Each one of us, we're doing our job, what we have to do, along with Torah and mitzvahs. And boys and girls, every mitzvah that we do brings Mashiach closer and closer.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening or watching the second episode of the Meaningful People podcast. If you haven't already, checked out the first episode of the Meaningful People podcast, we sat down with Rabbi Eitan Feiner, which was an unbelievable episode. So you should definitely go check that out if you haven't already.
And we really want to thank all of you because our podcast is rated the #1 podcast in Judaism and number 36 in the world for spirituality and religion. So thanks to you guys for, leaving your comments and sharing. Please go and share this episode as well and let all your friends and family know about it. We really can't thank you enough.
Thank you.
Bye.